Hi everyone, and welcome to this video where we tackle one of the most frustrating messages a Linux user can encounter: kernel panic, not syncing, VFS, unable to mount root FS on unknown block 179.2. This error can stop your system dead in its tracks, leaving you staring at a command line you can't interact with. But don't worry, we're here to break down what it means and how to fix it. A kernel panic is essentially a critical error that the operating system's core, the kernel, cannot recover from, forcing your system to halt to prevent further damage, much like Windows' blue screen of death. The not syncing part means the kernel couldn't write pending data to disk, indicating a serious problem with disk access or the file system itself. Then we see VFS, unable to mount root FS, where VFS stands for virtual file system, and this tells us the kernel failed to find or access the main file system that contains all your operating system files. The root FS is crucial because it's where Linux lives, and without it, your system can't boot. Finally, on unknown block 179.2 is a specific device identifier for the partition that your kernel expected to be the root file system, but it couldn't find or recognize it, often pointing to issues with the disk or its partitions. Several common culprits can trigger this kernel panic. First, a corrupt root file system can prevent the kernel from reading essential boot files, often due to improper shutdowns or disk errors. Second, an incorrect GRUB bootloader configuration might be pointing to the wrong partition or using outdated information about your disk layout. Third, missing or incorrect kernel modules, especially those needed for your disk controller, can leave the kernel unable to communicate with your storage device. Fourth, a failing hard drive or SSD is a hardware issue that can directly cause this error, as the kernel simply can't read from a non-responsive disk. Fifth, incorrect entries in your /etc/stab file, which tells Linux how to mount file systems at boot, can also lead to this problem if it's trying to mount a non-existent or incorrectly identified partition as root. Now, let's look at some troubleshooting steps to get your system back online. Our first step is often a simple reboot, as sometimes transient issues can cause this, and a fresh start might resolve it. If that doesn't work, you'll need to boot into a live Linux USB drive or DVD. This allows you to access your system's files from an external environment. Once in the live environment, open a terminal and use commands like lsblk or fdiskl to identify your root partition, which is usually /dev/sda1 or /dev/nmi0n1p1. Next, you should mount your root partition, for example, sudo mount /dev/sda1/mnt and then crut/mnt to enter your installed system's environment. Inside the crut, you can then update your GRUB configuration by running sudo update grub and sudo grub install /dev/sda. Replace /dev/sda with your actual disk, not the partition. This ensures GRUB has the latest information. Also, check your /etc/stab file, located at /mnt/etc/stab from the live USB before crutting, to make sure all entries are correct, and use UUIDs instead of device names for better reliability. If you suspect file system corruption, unmount the partition from the live USB, sudo amount /mnt and run a file system check using sudo fscky/dev/sda1 again, replace with your root partition, which will attempt to repair any errors. If your kernel itself might be corrupt, you can try reinstalling it from the live USB using apt install reinstall Linux image generic for Ubuntu/Debian-based systems, after crutting. Finally, if all else fails, consider checking your hard drive for physical damage using smart tools available in the live environment, or by trying a different drive if possible, as hardware failure is a strong possibility. Thanks for watching, and I hope this video helps you fix that dreaded kernel panic. If you found this information useful, please give the video a thumbs up, leave a comment if you have any questions or other solutions, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more helpful tech tips and tutorials.